Hello there, friends and followers. This is Q8Pilot, and I welcome you to another Microsoft Flight Simulator video. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the recently released European airports by ORBX for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. ORBX are known for creating very stunning scenery and highly detailed airports, including the surrounding area. My aim in this video is to show you those released airports so that you can decide if they are worth your investment or not. So let's get started. By default, of course, Innsbruck Airport is available in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it is not crafted in this level of detail. This is a very close rendition to the real airport in real life. I have been to Innsbruck once in the past. It was a very long time, but it's I think the surroundings, the custom buildings, the texturing, as you can see here on the apron, the runway textures, the overall ambience of Innsbruck Airport has been really crafted to look very similar to the real airport in real life. You can really appreciate the amount of details that have been brought into this airport, including all the ground services. You can see the parking lot here and the cars, all the advertisement here on the buildings. Everything really has been very well thought of by ORBX to create a very authentic and highly immersive experience of Innsbruck Airport in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. This is a look at Innsbruck Airport during nighttime. As you can see, the rendition of light is done very, very well in Microsoft Flight Simulator in general. But the rendition of Innsbruck, even during nighttime, is simply outstanding. Very, very nice recreation of the airport. The type of light and the color of the lights, as you can see here, differs from this area and the area that illuminates the taxiways and the apron at the airport. Overall, a very authentic and very immersive experience of Innsbruck by ORBX for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Next on our list is London City Airport, or Echo Golf Lima Charlie. Now, whatever applies to Innsbruck applies to London City Airport because this area is another area that is handcrafted in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is available by default, of course, not at the same level of accuracy and realism. The scenery by ORBX is absolutely stunning, very, very authentic, very immersive, and quite representative of London City Airport, an area that I'm very familiar with in real life. And but again, if you are on a budget, I would recommend that you spend your money elsewhere. If you are not, and you're very particular about flying into very detailed scenery, then I would definitely recommend that you get London City Airport by ORBX. The airport itself features custom buildings, custom lighting. As you can see, the apron is quite detailed. The taxi marking are, again, very sharp, very crisp. Everything, of course, is in high resolution. You can see the ground services right over here. They've done really a good job with the airport life in general. You can see the fire truck here coming along. And the buildings, so the structures themselves look stunning. Again, the use of PBR and all the available technology in Microsoft Flight Simulator has been put into use to really bring this aircraft to life and create a very authentic experience. Now, aside from London City Airport, there is the London Landmarks add-on, which I highly recommend. It is a brilliant add-on that adds and corrects a lot of the missing buildings around the London area. So we're going to take a short flight and take a look, but just look at the amount of detail here at London City Airport. Again, folks, the scenery itself is simply stunning. All the ORBX sceneries are simply stunning. But just from a budget perspective, if you're on a tight budget, The default airport at London City will definitely do. I would then recommend that you spend your money elsewhere, but I definitely recommend you getting the London landmarks. All right, let us now hop in the Cessna 152 and fly over the city of London and take a look at the available landmarks. And of course, for you guys Londoners, you can vouch for the accuracy of the scenery and what you see. What I see here, according to what I can recollect, is simply an outstanding and very authentic rendition of this area. All right, folks, we are ready for takeoff now. I have, by the way, kept the frame counter running throughout the video, so you guys can also get a feel for performance. And at the end of the video, I will show you my settings. I have made some tweaks to my settings to gain a little more FPS. So we are ready for departure here at London City Airport. We're gonna give it full power, and we're gonna rotate at about 60 knots. And we're going to take a look at the landmarks. Now, the Canary Wharf area is right ahead of us right here after the dome here. And this is an area where I am extremely familiar with. My parents own a property in this area. And so I've been to this area many, many times in real life. And I pretty much know what it looks like. So all the buildings have been modeled, and this is part of the London landmarks package. And here, as we start flying, you can see that the cityscape looks very, very authentic, extremely realistic as well. ORBX has really done a phenomenal job modeling all the buildings in the surrounding area and really putting the landmarks where they should be, and the accuracy is something I can vouch for, at least for those buildings in this area, the Canary Wharf area. As you can see here, beautiful scenery really of ORBX, London City Airport, and all the landmarks. Let's switch to external view so you guys can take a look here. And as you can see here, this is HSBC. This is the Canary Wharf area, very, very lively area. At least pre the COVID-19 time. Again, this is a very accurate representation of what you would see in the Canary Wharf area. Very, very nice place really to visit if you're in the London area. And this is a look at at London City from this angle. Here we go. That's again HSBC and all the famous buildings, all these buildings you'd find in the Canary Wharf area. Very, very beautiful rendition. I believe my folks have the somewhere right there, I believe, is their property. But here you can see again really a beautiful rendition of the Canary Wharf area, JP Morgan right there. Really very, very nice. Those buildings they look extremely familiar to me. And now as we fly towards the London Eye on that side right there, as you can see again, all the buildings that you would expect to see have been modeled. There we go. Here you can see a better view of the entire area. Let me zoom in here just a bit so you guys can take a closer look at the buildings right there. Really beautiful rendition of landmarks in London. This really feels like flying around London. Very, very nice indeed. And you can see the London Eye right ahead of us right there. Very nice indeed. So definitely the London landmark add-on is an add-on that I would recommend for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Okay, and there you go. And you can see that the FPS hasn't really been affected that much. in this particular scenario. Very nice indeed. That's the London Eye and the London Dungeon. Right there is, I think, the third one here. Great fun for the kids if you're ever in the London area. It's a place I highly recommend that you visit. And as you can see, really a very authentic experience flying. Now, I'm sure that, you know, for those of you guys who are Londoners, I'm sure that you'll pick things that are probably not 100%, and that's totally fine. I think overall, this is a very accurate rendition of London and the London area. Definitely, I highly recommend it. All right, let's go now and take a look at the next airport on our list. The next airport on our list is Vienna International Airport in Austria. Now, this airport is not developed by ORBX. It is distributed by ORBX and developed by Gaia or Jaya Simulations. This airport is one I would highly recommend. It is an absolute beauty of an airport, and it's crafted and very, very well for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The rendition of the buildings and all the custom objects is done to a very, very high quality. I love the products by this company. I've purchased their airport for X-Plane 11, and it is absolutely spot on in terms of the terminals, the gates, the taxi marking, the runways. Everything really is done with a lot of care and finesse to recreate a very authentic and realistic experience of Vienna Airport. So if you are definitely saving on Innsbruck and London City Airport, this is an airport where I highly recommend that you get, and trust me, you will not regret getting Vienna Airport. In terms of FPS, as you can see, the FPS counter is running there and everything is looking in tip-top shape. Not really that much degradation in performance considering what you'd get with the default airport versus the this custom airport. It's really beautiful. If you look at the amount of details just all over is just really outstanding. Here is another look at the airport from a different angle, and as you can see, no matter where you go, you will see that there is just an excruciating amount of details that have been put into this scenery to create a realistic experience of Vienna Airport. Very, very nice airport, highly recommended. Overall, Vienna Airport is definitely on my recommendation list. I highly recommend this airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can also appreciate the custom lighting here on the control tower. Overall, a beautiful rendition of the airport, highly recommended. Ladies and gentlemen, not too far away from Vienna Airport, we are currently situated at Zell MZ. This airport is a beautifully crafted airport by ORBX for fs2020, and I have had the pleasure of visiting this airport in real life, and it is very much representative of what you'd expect to see there. Really a very nice airport in a very nice area. It makes for some really beautiful GA flying as well. So what we're going to do is we are going to get into one of the general aviation aircraft. We're going to fly around Zell MZ just to show you the area around. All right, we're heading to the runway here, and we are going to depart Zell MZ and just take a look a little bit here at the scenery. Really beautiful rendition of the airport, as you can see here. And I did, by the way, change the time of day so that you can get an appreciation of all the details that have been brought into this scenery. And here we go. Let's give it full power. And rotate. just really a joy flying in this area. And I think you can get, you can see the area a lot better now up in the air here. All of the custom buildings are beautifully done. Very, very nice area. If you're ever in the vicinity, I highly recommend that you visit Zell. The representation of grass and vegetation in general in Microsoft Flight Simulator is simply outstanding. There we go. We're just going to do a short flyby here and just show you guys the buildings on this side. Let's switch to external view. And just look at the amount of details right there. Really very, very nice scenery. This area is a beautiful area to fly around as well, just in terms of the sceneries. As you can see, there is a lake here, and a very green area, mountainous. You get, you know, a mix of terrain in this area, which makes for a very pleasant flying experience. And again, you can see that the frames, the FPS isn't a problem at all at Zell. And of course, this is understandable because there aren't too many objects. So not a good FPS test, but nonetheless, it is indicative of a well-optimized airport scenery. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to head to our next destination. Ladies and gentlemen, our next destination is Leeds Bradford, or Echo Golf November Mike in the United Kingdom. As you can see, a beautiful rendition of the airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Custom apron, taxiways and runways. Everything is done to perfection here at Leeds Bradford. A beautiful airport to fly in and out of in the United Kingdom. Lots of green scenery around this airport. Again, you can see the cars and the jetways. Of course, they use the default jetways of Microsoft Flight Simulator, but overall, this airport is very well crafted and looks absolutely stunning. For those of you who are fans of night flying, as you can see, Leeds Bradford is beautifully modeled during nighttime with all the custom lightings, and you can see the illumination from all the different custom buildings here. The runway lights, the taxi lights, everything is done with a lot of care and a lot of finesse. The final finish of ORBX scenery is just simply second to none. Really outstanding scenery, and they've covered also the surrounding areas for a rather authentic experience of Leeds Bradford. Very, very beautiful airport and a very beautiful area. If you ask me, to fly in and out of, whether during daylight or nighttime. Ladies and gentlemen, our final destination today is KOS International Airport in Greece, or Lima Golf Kilo Oscar. Again, a beautifully crafted airport and very, very authentic based on the footage that I've seen of the real airport. You can appreciate all the taxi markings and all the excruciating amount of details at the airport terminal here, as you can see. Again, one of the airports that I would highly recommend if you like flying in Greece. This is definitely an airport that you want to get. The actual airport is situated in an area that makes for really a very scenic approach into the airport. So if you are a fan of flying into smaller islands, and if you like flying in Greece, this airport is definitely on my recommendation list. It is a bit heavier on FPS than all the rest of the airports that we've seen for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why, but you can see here the FPS has dropped in this specific scenery. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, a look at the airport during nighttime. Again, as you can see, beautiful scenery of the airport. And again, you can see that we are down to about 35 FPS, which is a little bit lower than all the other scenery airports that we've seen today. But definitely the custom taxiways, the custom markings, the custom objects, as well as the ground services placed. The airport clutter in general is done very, very well. Really creates for a very authentic experience and lots of fun, if you ask me. Well, folks, this pretty much brings us to the conclusion of our video today. And as you have seen in this video, all of the ORBX European airports for Flight Simulator 2020 are of the highest quality. They're very well crafted, they're reasonably authentic, and represent what you would see in real life. Now, of course, my recommendation is, if you're on a budget, that you would skip Innsbruck and London City Airport sceneries, and that's simply because those two areas are modeled in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so you will get a reasonable experience flying in and out of those areas by default. However, I would highly recommend the London landmarks. I think this area, the package of the London landmarks is absolutely stunning and very, very well made if you like to fly around the London area. The airports, my favorite airports out of all the European airports, in no particular order, would be Vienna Airport, London City Airport, and Leeds Bradford, coupled with the London landmarks. Those would be my my wish list, of course, if I hadn't purchased any of these airports and I was strictly on a budget. Then those are the airports that I personally would invest in. Before we bring the video to closure, I have kept the FPS counter here at the top left of the screen throughout this video to kind of give you guys a reference point as to what you would expect in terms of FPS. But I need to also show you my settings so that you can understand exactly how I was able to get these results. So basically, if you go to the ultra setting, and then I went to the ultra setting, and then I started tweaking my my graphics settings. I put the render scaling is, of course, at 100. The VSync is turned off so that I get maximum frames. Anti-aliasing is TAA. Terrain level detail is 200. And let me just take you to the things that I have changed. Now, I have completely turned off texture super sampling. This item has taken my FPS from lower 30s to like 40s and 50s. So this is really big, guys, on FPS. Texture super sampling, turn it off. I didn't really see any change in the visual quality. So by all means, you can turn this off and save a lot of FPS. Another thing that was kind of useful for me, at least in my case, is this item here, ambient occlusion. You can turn this down to low. It wouldn't really affect, it's the some shadows around the aircraft surface will be turned off, and that will really help FPS. So overall, I've got about, the increase was from the 30s to the upper 40s and 50s. So definitely texture super sampling, turn it off completely. You can turn this option off as well. I just leave it at low. And then the other thing that will really affect performance is the depth of field. So I moved this particular item from ultra to high, and lens correction and lens flare are turned off. I'm not really sure what lens correction does, but lens flare I don't like. I don't think is realistic, so I always turn it off. Well, folks, those are the settings that I've used throughout this video, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you have any questions, please do post them in the comment section below. As usual, I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in, and bye-bye for now.